Hi, today we're talking about the continuous aspect, the basics. It's formed as follows: subject plus to be plus present participle. I am eating, I was eating. Or with the perfect: subject plus to have plus been plus present participle. I have been eating, I had been eating. And we use the continuous in three main situations. The first is to talk about actions which are temporary or occurring during a period of time. We use it to show the view that the action is incomplete, or that we don't care or don't want to say or don't know when it started or if it will finish. Examples: we are studying English grammar at the moment. Temporary action: it was snowing when I left the house. I don't care when it started or if it will finish. The second situation is to talk about activities which are going through a process of change. Examples: my students' vocabulary was improving each day. I think I'm growing more forgetful as I get older. The third situation is to talk about repeated action rather than continuous, with verbs such as knock, blink, ring. Example: I was ringing him all morning, but he didn't answer. The perfect tenses, the perfect continuous, is used to focus on a past period leading up to a later one. And like other continuous tenses, the perfect continuous is used to talk about events which are ongoing and or temporary. Examples: I've been meaning to tell you about it all day. Next September, I will have been studying French for 10 years. He had been studying all evening and he needed a rest. We use the past and present perfect continuous to talk about events that are incomplete, just finishing, or about to change, whereas we use the past and present perfect simple to suggest that the event has finished. Examples: I had been staring at the screen all evening when a solution suddenly struck me. I have been reading Romeo and Juliet again. It might not be finished. Whereas I have read Romeo and Juliet again, it's finished. The continuous can be used to emphasize the activity, whereas the simple focuses on the result of the activity. Look at what have you been doing? This asks about the activity, whereas what have you done asks about the result of the activity. And the difference between choosing the continuous and the simple can often just be a result of emphasis rather than meaning. Example: I have waited here for over an hour. This is the same as I have been waiting here for over an hour, but the use of the continuous places emphasis on the waiting, so projects the idea that you are perhaps a little annoyed. It gives that extra nuance. We can use the past continuous for plans in the past. Example: we were meeting at 9 p.m. and I was already late. We can use was going to talk about plans in the past that maybe we haven't carried out yet or no longer have any intention to carry out. Example: I was going to call you, but I forgot. I was going to finish this work today, but I got distracted. And we use I was thinking to introduce vague future plans. Example: I was thinking of trying that new restaurant this weekend. We often use the past continuous to introduce polite requests, suggestions, or inquiries so that it becomes more of an invitation to discuss the subject rather than a demand for yes or no. Example: I was thinking, would you mind swapping seats? I was wondering whether you wanted to have coffee with me. Were you looking for anything in particular? Now be careful, because we cannot use if or whether with I was thinking. Example: I was thinking if you wanted to get coffee with me. No. You have to say, I was thinking, would you want to get coffee with me? But you can use it with I was wondering. Example: I was wondering whether you wanted to get coffee with me. I was wondering if you wanted to get coffee with me. Verbs and other constructions, which can be followed by the infinitive, to do, to have done, can also be followed by the continuous infinitive, to be doing, to have been doing, to emphasize that the action is still continuing or temporary. Examples: it is ridiculous for him to work this late. It is ridiculous for him to be working this late. Several politicians are thought to have lied during the debate. Several politicians are thought to have been lying during the debate. Let's do some practice of the continuous aspect. Which sentence would be said after one particular meal? I've eaten too much. I've been eating too much. After one particular meal, the present perfect is appropriate rather than the present perfect continuous, which would refer to a general fact in recent times. Which sentence refers to a temporary situation? That lamp sits on that table over there. You're sitting in my seat. The use of the present continuous indicates a temporary situation, whereas the present simple indicates a general truth. So a temporary situation is B. Which activity is probably not completed? I've been writing this essay all evening, or I've written to him asking for an appointment. The use of the present perfect continuous indicates or can indicate an incomplete action, whereas the present perfect usually refers to a completed action. So A is probably not completed, which is a gradual process. The increase in traffic noise is becoming a real nuisance. John becomes president of Oxford Rotary Club in July. The use of the present continuous here indicates a gradual process, whereas the present simple, especially with this time marker, indicates that an action happens from one moment to the next. So a gradual process is A. Which would you say when you look out of the window early one morning? It's been raining. It was raining. The most natural would be the present perfect continuous to indicate something that has just happened and just completed, rather than something which could have happened a lot further in the past. Which is a more certain plan? I was thinking of spending the weekend at my sister's. I'm planning to spend the weekend at my sister's. Well, we usually use I was thinking to refer to vague future plans. So the more certain plan is I'm planning. You saw a colleague waiting for a bus on your way to work. Which would you say to your other colleagues when you get to the office to explain why she was there? She might have gone to see her dentist. She might have been going to see her dentist. The correct answer here is B, because you saw her in the moment of this action. So you're referring to seeing her on her way. So it's better to use this continuous action here. If you have any questions, let me know.